really happy to be able to step in and give her a well-needed rest. So much to be thankful for. And Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday by far, and not because of the turkey and dressing. Not just because of the turkey and dressing. I love that in this country who can be so cynical sometimes and so immature in so many ways, that we have for hundreds of years taken a day to do nothing but say thanks, to be with our families and to say thank you. And with our commercial society, there's just not that much you can sell for Thanksgiving besides turkey. And so we take this one holiday that has nothing to do with religion, that just has to do with looking around and seeing how much we have to be thankful for. So this day I'm here to talk about grace and gratitude. And grace, if you look it up in the dictionary, it has the meaning of those unmerited favors that God does for us. It's the way it was always explained to me, but it also has a different meaning. It means a way of moving through the world that is smooth, not stiff or awkward. It's that divine assistance. And to be graceful means to be pleasing in movement or form. To be gracious means to be pleasing, kind, courteous, merciful, and compassionate. And gratitude is the state of being grateful for our grace. And gratitude actually brings us into that state of grace. It's a feeling or expression of appreciation. And I love that word appreciation, because what happens when your house appreciates? It becomes more valuable. When things appreciate, they become more valuable. So showing your appreciation to another is a way of adding value to that transaction, to that other person. It is being conscious of the benefit received. So the benefits of grace are all around us at all times. I believe this. Gratitude is the time that we take to be conscious of those benefits of grace and to express our thanks for them. In John 1:16, from the fullness of God's grace, we have all received one blessing after another. How many of you are not feeling as blessed today as you might want to be? Yeah. It's hard. It's hard sometimes to see the blessings. And thankfulness is evidence that we've received. Rumi says it a different way. He says, "Hear blessings dropping their blossoms all around you." Now, the blessings are dropping their blossoms all around you, I promise. Are you hearing them? Can you see them? Grace is freely given. Gratitude is a spiritual practice. And I think it may be the most important spiritual practice. For me, it's the one that can get me out of any hole that I've dug for myself. Lots of different kinds of holes I can dig for myself spiritually, but gratitude is like the panacea for all dug holes to get me out of there. Gratitude is the recognition of grace. It's the practice of awareness. It's acknowledgement and appreciation, which allows the enjoyment of grace. And so much of the time we wait until we're feeling the enjoyment of grace. I'm really enjoying this grace I've got, so now I can be grateful. And I think what we can do a lot of the time is to be grateful, and that gratitude itself will bring us into an awareness and an enjoyment and an appreciation of our grace. Meister Eckhart, who was a 13th century German mystic, he was Dominican monastic, he was a teacher, a prolific writer, and because of all that, he was brought up before the Inquisition, which makes me kind of like him even more. He says, if the only prayer you ever said in your life was thank you, it would be enough. If you never had to pray anything else but thank you, that would be enough. And in Psalm 30, Verse 12, I just love this. This is the New King James Version. To the end that my glory may sing praise to you and not be silent, O Lord my God, I will give thanks to you forever. And here's the same verse in the Message Bible, which I just love. Psalm 30, I'm about to burst with song. I can't keep quiet about you. God, my God, I can't thank you enough. So why do we need to thank God? Is God up there keeping score? Well, you didn't say thank you for this, so you're not going to get this next thing. No, I don't believe that. Is God needing, a lot of Christian contemporary music has a lot of emphasis on God is worthy of our praise. We have to praise, we have to praise. Does God need our praise? God doesn't need our praise. But we need to be joyful and praiseful and thankful. It's what we do for ourselves. It's important to say thank you because it means not only that we've received, but that we are aware of what we've received. Thank you opens worlds. I taught my daughter when she was a very tiny little girl that the only appropriate response to a gift is to say thank you. And that goes for the gift of, oh, I already have that Barbie. You still have to say thank you. Or, ooh, I've always hated that flavor. You still have to say thank you, right? Gifts don't always come in the package that we want them to come in, but it is a spiritual practice to say thank you anyway. And that's why it's a response to a gift. It makes the interaction reciprocal. And I think that's why it's called to give thanks. Someone gives you something, you give thanks in return. It's an exchange of energy. It's an exchange and a response that acknowledges the giver and the gift. A Course in Miracles teaches that to give is how to recognize you have received. And we practice that in Unity. We practice the principles of tithing, that we don't wait until all of our good comes in before we give out. We give out knowing that in doing so, we open the channels for our good to come in. That's the way it works. Viktor Frankl, who is one of my favorite authors, have any of you read his book, Man's Search for Meaning? He was an inmate of two different concentration camps in Poland and Germany. He lost his parents, he lost his wife, he lost all of his family members during World War II. And he came out and he wrote this book called Man's Search for Meaning. And he talked about how, because he was a trained psychologist before he went in, and so he was very observant of what happened in that community and the different societal norms that develop in such an abnormal environment. And his observation was that there were people from whom everything was taken except their souls. And there were people from whom everything was taken, including their sense of self, including, in a way, their very souls. And he said that he observed that the difference, and no judgment here, that this was an enormously difficult place to be. There was no way to make any sense out of it, except that he observed that the people who were able to give something were the ones who were able to hang on to their humanity. That means if they had a half a crumb, they could give a quarter of a crumb away. And that helped them to hold on to who they were. One day he saw a bird when he was out on the work detail. A little bird alighted in a tree next to him, and he felt very much like that was a message from his wife, that there was still beauty in the world, and that there were still things to be thankful for. And he built a whole philosophy in psychology from his what he learned in the concentration camp and his studies afterward. So it's hard to be thankful when you are depressed. And I've dealt with depression all my life. It's something that's just been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. And luckily, I'm married to this guy who never gets depressed. As long as I have a Mr. Sunshine in the house, I get to be Mrs. Rain if I want to. But a few years ago, we had a confluence of events in our family Just briefly, I lost my best friend. The church that I had devoted my life to started going to not really a good place where I wasn't comfortable there anymore. So that was so much of my comfort was from that place. My mother was diagnosed with dementia. My father died. I had lost my job in leaving the church. I left my job of many, many years. And my husband told me at the time, he's like, it's okay, you can focus on your music, and I've got enough income right now. And then the day that the doctors told us my father was not going to recover, his business partner called him in the office and said, I want you out of here. I don't want to be in business with you anymore. And you talk about the world crashing in. It just felt like everything I had to hold on to was being taken away. Okay, I can hold on to mommy and daddy. Nope, I can't do that. I can hold on to, well, at least we have this income. Nope, I can't do that. All of the physical things, even people, that I was trying to hold on to, God was giving me the message, nuh-uh. And the answer was, if I hold on to God, it doesn't matter what else I lose. I can't truly lose anything else if I hold on to God. But that does not mean that those months, that year, was easy to get through. It was the worst of our lives. And my husband got depressed. It was a big blow for him. And so I had to step up to the plate. I had to be Mrs. Sunshine, at least on some days. I mean, that's a big thing for me to have to do. Some of you are naturals at it. I'm not a natural at it. So what I did every day for that almost year while we were grieving my parents, while I was trying to take care of my mother and take care of her estate, while we were trying to negotiate with his business partner of how to get out of the business without completely losing ourselves financially, we're negotiating selling our half. During that year when we had no idea what was going to happen, I got up early every morning, and I wrote a page of gratitude, a whole page. And what I learned is that I never ran out of things to be grateful for. And that page of gratitude was what helped me to make it through the rest of the day. And from that page of gratitude, then I was able to reach out to my husband who was depressed and to give him lots of encouragement. I was writing little encouraging notes and putting them in his truck and in his lunch and by the coffee pot and places that he could see them to help him make it through the day. And it was gratitude that got me out of that hole, and I knew to do it because I've been in a few holes in my life, and gratitude was always what worked to get me out of them. So it is kind of impossible to whine and feel like you have nothing if you can say even one small thank you. That's what thank you does. As soon as you say thank you, you go, well, I must have something to be thankful for. There's one. Thank you is an admission of good received. And from that first small thank you can flow a spirit of generosity, a continuing recognition of all the many ways we are gifted in every moment by Creator or creation, both by Creator and creation. Are you breathing? There is evidence of God providing life for you in this moment and every moment, in ways that you don't have to ask for, that you don't have to understand. This air goes in, it mixes with some cells and makes some oxygen, it goes out to the rest of your body, and it keeps you living, and you don't have to ask for that, and you don't have to do the right thing in order for it to happen, and you don't have to figure it out and know what all the steps are. It is a gift freely given. How many gifts do we have like that we're not recognizing? Rumi again says, wear gratitude like a cloak, and it will feed every corner of your life. And if you're asking how to that question, how do I wear gratitude like a cloak? Here's another answer from Rumi. If all you can do is crawl, start crawling. If all you can think of to be grateful for is at least I'm alive, even if that doesn't feel very good, I have food in my refrigerator. I have feet that I can still walk. Whatever, if you start, you will begin to know that you won't run out. You can't run out. So practices, lists lists of what you're grateful for, not just in the outer world, but to be grateful for your own self. This is hard to do because we tend to be much harder on ourselves than on anyone else. Be grateful for the gifts that you have. Be grateful for your body in all of the ways that it does function rather than focusing on the ways that it doesn't function. And that gratitude naturally leads us to grace, to becoming gracious, graceful people, and we move through the world more smoothly. We are graced. And cultivation of that grace, when we recognize, wow, we've been graced, then that grace gives birth to more gratitude. And then the habit and spirit of gratitude gives birth to more grace again. And now we're in a cycle of good for good for good for good. When we start feeling the cycle going backwards, gratitude is the way to break in on that wheel. And this brings me to another quote of Meister Eckhart. I just love him. He says, "We are celebrating the feast of the eternal birth, which God the Father has borne and never ceases to bear in all eternity. But if it takes not place in me, what avails it? Everything lies in this, that it should take place in me." So what this quote to me means is that God did not create us past tense. Okay, that's something that happened a long time ago and now we're on our own. God is intimately involved. That spirit within us is intimately involved, not separately from our bodies, but in every cell of our bodies, in every thought in our minds, in every interaction into our world. It is intimately involved, and God is here right now on the birthing bed, as it says in some translations, giving birth to us in every moment. And when we know that, when we claim it, when we practice it, how can we think that God is far away, ever? How can I think of myself as separate when God is intimately involved in every function of my body, every thought in my mind, every feeling in my heart, every interaction in my relationships? My breath is supplied in each moment. God doesn't pick and choose. God is not otherwise occupied. God is here, present in me, as me. And that second half of the quote that says, we must participate. We must integrate, appreciate, consent to that love and that intimacy, because even if it's in us, even if we're in a room full of light, if we keep our eyes closed, we can't see the light nor have any benefit from it. So that's ours. Ours is to open our eyes. Ours is to participate. Ours is to consent to that love having its way with us. Ours is to integrate it into our thoughts and actions and activities. And in that, we are meant in turn to love and acknowledge and give out and create and sustain the worlds that we are making. Do you know you're making a world? You're going to leave here and you're going to go make a world. It's called Sunday afternoon. And then you're going to make a Monday world tomorrow, which might be a little more difficult. Every day, you're creating your world. And thus, we complete that circle of grace and gratitude. And in so doing, we are truly partners with God in the birthing of the universe. So if you are wondering what your gifts are, ask that part of yourself that already knows. Put a pencil in your hand and a pad of paper in front of you, and you will be amazed by what your hand knows that your brain might not even know yet. Grace and gratitude. We all have gifts, and we're here to use them to make the world a better place. Thank you.
Search for glory a million different ways in their solitary faces, working at it hard each day. stop and take the time to question why they care. They might just start to find there's still room for sharing. It's like we go around in circles when there's no love in our lives. Just an empty game we're playing. All we do is mark the time. And if we get our name in the papers and make a lot of money, have we satisfied our hunger in the search for glory? You know that the only glory is to love and be loved. It's the ageless story our dreams are all made of. And we all need someone to share in this great prize. You know the only glory. It's to love and be loved. It's to love